Hey guys, and welcome back! Today we're making this chalkboard sign with custom monogram. So I start in Cricut Design Space, uploading the Reef SVG that I'm using as the outline to my initial. I got this a part of my Creative Fabrica subscription. So I have the SVG, font, and supplies linked down below in the video description, along with a 30% discount for the recurring monthly subscription through Creative Fabrica. So this is where I get most of my fonts and graphics that I use for my wedding signs. So definitely check that out. But now that my reef is uploaded onto Cricut Design Space, I create a box to serve as a placeholder for the chalkboard piece. It is about a 12 by 24 inch, so just about the size of the longer Cricut mat. So then I just add in their initial, and this is for their last name since it is their wedding day. We just use the one initial for Stanley. So I just kind of play around with the sizing and the positioning of that inside of the wreath. I add in the rest of the text, keeping it the same font as the single letter monogram. I ungroup, drag the letters together, and weld them back together so they can cut as one decal. The arrow I used is located in the Cricut image library. I add this to the canvas and change the color to match the rest. Once I have everything positioned and in its final spot, I remove the box that's serving as the placeholder and weld everything together. Since this will fit on one mat, I can go ahead and cut it all as one, so it is super easy. I go ahead and make my project, selecting the premium outdoor vinyl setting, and load this into my Cricut Maker machine. So for detailed vinyl pieces like this and the wreath with all of the leaves and stuff, I do like to cut the vinyl into sections. It's just easier for me to weed that way. So the chalkboard pieces that I have, and I've worked with a few different ones now, they are just not as accepting of the vinyl as, say, like my wood and acrylic pieces are. So one thing that I do with these pieces is run my hands and sometimes even my arms over the sticky side of the transfer tape, just to kind of relieve some of the tackiness on there, just so it kind of releases the vinyl onto the chalkboard a little bit easier. I don't do this with any of my other pieces, and this is the same material, the same transfer tape and vinyl that I use on my woods and acrylics, but the chalkboards are just a little bit more difficult to work with, so that is one step that I make sure to do. Just kind of running my hands over the transfer tape before I apply it to the vinyl. I then lay the decal onto the piece and start burnishing the vinyl onto the chalkboard. So I really just have to make sure to take my time with these, creating a negative pull when removing the transfer tape. So sometimes it'll come up just fine. Sometimes I have to use my soft scraper like I'm doing here and doing that negative pull with the transfer tape. So it pretty much forces the vinyl onto the chalkboard piece. Just because of this and the slow process of applying the vinyl, I don't do a ton of chalkboard signs. This is pretty much just for my rentals and coordination clients. But I do love the freestanding pieces. Like this is perfect for a directional or parking sign. And we use the sign to help direct guests around the venue and back into the ceremony area to try to keep guests out of the reception space, just so they weren't seeing the decor and whatnot before it was time. It was the first thing that guests saw as they arrived, and I thought it was the perfect touch to set the tone for the rest of the evening at the Woodlands. Thank you so much for watching this. Let me know if it helped you by clicking the like button, and any questions that you have, please let me know down in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.